Oh, greetings there, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of the Seven Dice. We are just getting ready. We gotta get that portal open today. I hope it goes well. We have a lot of these artifacts, just weird items that have been brought over by Astoria. I had to clean out my damn basement, open up the floor in the main room. Not sitting with me, but I guess if this inn's gonna be destroyed, we might as well get the hell out of here. Why don't you go ahead and see Wing over?
Greetings there, travellers. Welcome. It's me, Wingover Gimble, famous gnome bird and portal expert. Just, got everything set up. I've gone through this ritual time and time again, did a few little practice runs on smaller things, and it seems okay. It requires so much energy and so much concentration. I just hope that we can keep it open. That's the biggest problem. If we can't keep this thing open, then we're stuck here. Travelers, by the way, if you care to send in some fan mail, head on over to the Attunes or Podchaser. All that stuff, it gives us energy, helps us out, bolsters us. But yes, try to get that out of the way. Let's see here. Okay, put this here, put that there. Alright, here we go. Let's try this out. Whoa. Okay, this is taking a lot. This is a lot of energy. Wowzers. Okay, we're supposed to hold this open? For how long? Is everyone to go through? I don't know. Oh, what's that? I can kind of see something through the other side. It looks like a grassy field. They're beautiful, orange grass, sort of, it's got little purple flowers. That's nice. Oh, there's someone walking through. It is a halfling. They have a large cowboy hat. They're walking through here, very colorful clothing. Hello, what's your name?
My name is Billy.
Billy? Okay, welcome. This is what's left of Faerun and Abiatoral. Where are you from?
I'm from the beautiful Realtor, where we have majestic fields for our majestic arachnid steeds.
Arachnid steeds? What's an arachnid steed?
Why, it's a beautiful thing called a spider horse. A spider horse is an 8-legged horse-like creature, 8 eyes, shoot webbing right out of its mouth that opens up in 3 parts with horse teeth. They are a little carnivorous, so you gotta be careful sometimes.
That's terrifying. Interesting though. Interesting. Okay, you say you're from Loch Realtor. Okay, Loch Realtor. Spider horses. Okay, that's apparently where we're going. Hey, this is weird. I know, first time in this world. Could you read off this pamphlet here?
Why, I don't mind at all. I love to read a good pamphlet. Head on over to battleballads.com, where you can get yourself some sounds of majestic steeds galloping across cobblestone, grass, gravel, whatever you may need. Perhaps you need a sound of a wintry mountain wind. You can get that there as well. Head on over to battleballads.com.
Okay, that was perfect. Right on. Excellent. And I'm sorry, what was your name again?
It's Billy.
Billy. Okay. Thank you very much, Billy. All right. So, I guess if you want to, you can go back through the portal if you want. Take a seat. It's really up to you. But travelers, all the soldiers have marched off from Sanctuary. They are heading onwards, and so we are getting near the end of it. We are on the second last chapter of this tale. But I bring to you the War for Existence. Part 1.
Hey, I'm Brent, and I'm playing Kelsar, the Tiefling Paladin
and Chosen of Yetifa.
Hi, I'm Humberto, and I'm playing Bordon, Dwarven Cleric and Chosen of Time.
I'm Evan, and I'm playing Ronnie, the Half-Elf Bard and Chosen of Chaos.
Hey, I'm Robert, and I'm playing MZ, the Githyanki Ranger and
Chosen Blood.
Hey, I'm Jason, and I'll be playing Draxir, the Dragonborn Artificer
and Chosen of Machines.
Previously on Ballad of the Seven Dice, our heroes had just finished preparing for war. Bordon had learned more about what was going on in the Church of Dumathoin and summoned a great elemental known as Voltos, the Imploder of Worlds. After paying enough funds, they managed to secure their assistance. The party then looked into the book that Ronnie once had and found that they could summon Palgrith the Unclean. After having a discussion with the Archangel, the party tried empathy. They tried reason, they tried logic, but unfortunately, the creature would not budge. After a discussion, they managed to secure the creature's assistance, but the creature wished for death at the end. Bordon was then branded with an Enochian sigil on his face, and now Bordon has the ability to summon Palgrith to his side
when the war begins. And that's more or less where we left you all off. So these ships are just getting finished, loaded up. A lot of soldiers are moving on to them. You see that some portal work is being done and having soldiers march through them. You know that the ship that you're all being placed on is actually one of the main ships of the fleet that is owned by none other than Steve, the farmer. What would you all like to do? You're all just standing there at the outskirts of the city. You just finished talking to Palgrith, and it looks like the ships are getting pretty much ready to go.
Oh shit, I gotta get my sword.
You'll have your sword given to you, Sargoth is going to be working on it on the way.
Okay, so you gonna bring it to me before the fight starts?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know, I can't think of anything. I think we've done as much as we possibly could. Exhausted almost all our options.
It's go time.
Alright. There is these little, they're almost like rowboats, but they move through the sky, and it comes down from these ships that are hovering quite high into the air. They're loading up people. You see that Astoria goes on one, and she's going on to another ship. Steve comes down on one, and he has there's a lot of supplies that are also being loaded on as you're all being placed onto this tiny rowboat. Steve waves a hand, and this rowboat starts lifting into the air. And while it's going, he looks back at all of you. So, looks like you all had quite a trip. I've seen you all 2 months ago. How you been?
Not great, but could have been worse. How are you, Steve?
You all look really different. MZ's skin is different. It looks like it's like a carapace. Kelsar, you got glowing white and black eyes and runes, and Ronnie and Bordon look pretty similar, except Bordon's got tattoo or something, and I don't think I've met you. And he points at Draxir.
We haven't met before. I reach out a hand to shake his. Of Draxir.
I'm Steve, I guess I'm not a farmer anymore. Well, they call me a merchant king, but I don't really know what that all means. I just have a big business.
Well, congratulations, Steve.
Sounds like you've found your way in the world.
Yeah, I was a mayor at one point, and then I went over to another place, struck gold in one place, and hired a crew to excavate it. Then I started investing in these flying ships, and well, here I am.
We're happy for your success, Steve.
Yeah, let's try to make sure that this world stays together and I can keep it.
We'll make sure of it.
The rowboat comes up and it docks inside this ship. And inside these ships, you see there is a lot of like mechanical pieces to it that are keeping things moving. You see there are large arcane gems that are floating in the air that energy's radiating off of. And you see there are people just constantly hauling things, moving things back and forth. There's a lot of soldiers that are on here. And you see like they're attending to gear and weapons. There's stairs that are leading upstairs to the deck. It just seems like it's a very chaotic, busy place. There are sort of like hammocks, like sleeping quarters that they have set up for people. And you overheard while the planning was going on that it's probably going to take maybe about 2 days to get there, maybe a little bit less. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're on these ships and they're just sailing over the Forgotten Realms?
How's he gonna give me my sword if I'm like way the...
He's on the same ship.
Oh, okay, cool.
One thing that I'll make sure I'll do is have enough money to pay Boltos, because I think it was like 1,000 pieces of gold a day, or was it like 10,000?
I'm not sure, but you do have enough money that you could cover it like easily over a week, so you should be fine.
I'm just saying, like, having money and like bringing money are two different things. So I'm just saying, like, I'll just bring enough money.
That's very true.
He just like, oh shit. Boltos, can I write you an IOU?
I'm short 20 gold. Is this cool? I mean, you got most of it.
I left my wallet at home. Didn't think I'd need it during a war, but hey, I guess I do.
So Kelsar, while these ships are sailing, Sargoth comes up from the main brig, and you see he looks a little exhausted. He has these circles under his eyes, but he's holding on to this blade that you had presented him. And normally this blade, it has these wings coming off to the sides, it's the hilt, this beautiful handle, this sword that is gilded. This is the sword you're used to, but now when you're receiving it, you see that the gilded edges are almost giving off like a soft glow. You see that there are a few gems that have been inlaid into the hilt that seem to be powering it up a bit. Instead of a +1 sword, this is now a +2.
Ooh.
And it has 1d6 radiant damage whenever you attack with it.
Oh, so anytime I attack now?
Yeah, it has 1d6 of radiant damage. Sargoth hands this over to you, and...
Well, it took a little bit longer than I thought, but at least it's done. So, I'm gonna try to get some rest and get ready for this battle.
Thank you so much, Sargoth. This is incredible. Are you gonna be okay? Do you need anything from me?
I just need a bit of rest. Are you gonna be alright? Are you ready for the war?
I'm ready. Thank you so much, Sargoth.
Try to get some rest. We're probably gonna be arriving there a little more in the afternoon or evening.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Your ships are sailing over, and every so often, like, you wander up to the deck of the ship, and you see there are a lot of people that are manning the sails, and there are these that are almost like ghostly oars that are out, and instead of like, a classic like a team of rowers, you actually see a team of mages that are holding out their hands, concentrating. They're using these ghostly oars to move the ship forward faster. While you're going, you see that like the two crafts that the Nostradamus Corporation had sent are, dipping down from the clouds and coming a little bit closer as you're starting to near your destination. These ships are these sleek silver ships reflecting on the side of them in these block red letters. It says Nostradamus Corp. You see that there are, like, the windows for them are completely black. You can't see inside of them. And there are these large guns that are mounted onto the sides of them as they're moving forward. You look and see, you're traveling over the Sword Coast, and you see so much destruction and ruin. Towns all around are completely destroyed. You see villages have been burned out. You see swarms of undead are just roaming the countrysides. And every so often you might see a group of adventurers or military personnel that are fighting against these hordes that are attacking. You continue to pass over these waves of destruction. You see Baldur's Gate is holding off waves of enemies that are attacking it. You know that you have a number of soldiers from Baldur's Gate, and there's even a few on the ship that you're at, and they're looking down nervously at their city. You keep sailing even past the city of Waterdeep. You see that there is smoke rising in pillars from the city. There are forces that are trying to lay siege on it from Neverwinter. And there are all sorts of manner of creatures inside that city swarming to get out. Finally, at like maybe midway through the second day of traveling on these ships, you finally see it in sight. There's this ivory tower gleaming in the distance. You're far into the north reaches of the Sword Coast. This tower stands on these open plains, and normally this would be a beautiful sight. This tower looks absolutely pristine, like it was made out of one piece of solid white marble. But surrounding this tower are hordes upon hordes of monsters. You see ghouls, zombies, undead of all manner. You see these large, bloated creatures with 4 legs marching forward, these large gaping maws opening and closing as like this greenish fumes that are coming out of its mouth. You see just clouds of night gaunts flying around the area surrounding this ivory tower. And on top of the tower, you watch as a Dracolich pulls itself up on top of it. These tentacles are piercing through its skeletal frame, holding its form together. These green, glowing eyes are staring off at all of you. And you see your forces have assembled. There are legions of chosen, soldiers from Sanctuary. You see there are soldiers from Baldur's Gate. You watch as a number of portals are opening up and soldiers are marching out of them. You can see over at Astoria's ship. She's standing at the front of it, holding her hands open, concentrating as a number of portals are continuously opening up. You watch as these red dragons like dip through the clouds. You weren't even aware that they were following you. These Githyanki are riding on their backs. You watch as it almost seems like more advanced portal work is opening up, and these Gith soldiers are marching out in these perfect formations. You see these two, the spaceships from the Nostradamus Corps come down near the ground, and they start unloading these strange beings known as the ST-3B3s. And they look like they're little pill bodies, and they kind of march around. Like if you saw like Fall Guys, they're kind of like that. And they change their arms come in, and then coming out are these 2 massive sets of guns as they're waddling forward. You see that there is a group of ogres that are coming through one portal, looking kind of confused, and then looking over at the groups, the hordes of monsters in front of them. A silver dragon comes through, getting kind of close to the red dragons, eyeing them warily. And all of you are on the bow, and these light gaunts just start launching off of the ship that you're on, and now they're following and like almost creating this circular swarm around your ship, trying to keep it safe.
Okay, I can't be the only one who's thinking of Avengers Endgame right now.
I thought about that too.
When you got wizards use portals, but they're not coming in like end game. No, they're like, fuck, we really got to start this off strong, boys. So they bring in their troops.
Da, 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 da.
Maybe the people from Avengers were reading my fucking notes. Because I wrote this shit up like 3 years ago.
Next another portal opens. There's Iron Man and Doctor Strange and fucking...
No, it's Dr. Odd and Steel Man.
Oh yeah, we gotta watch the copyright, and our Arachnid Boy is there, and...
Bordon, you see these thunderclouds are starting to roll over, and this lightning is arcing through it, and you know that Voltos, the imploder of dimensions, has arrived as well. And you can feel the ruin, the Enochian ruin on your face. It's kind of warm right now.
I just hope he will live up to his name. Or his title, whatever.
I kind of hope not, because that would mean imploding our dimension.
Maybe he'll be able to tone it down You know, it's like maybe just like
hopefully.
1% of the dimension.
Chill, bro.
1% of implosion. Yeah. We have now entered mass combat. I've wanted to do mass combat for a long time. I'm excited. For the listeners and for the players, let's go over the baseline rules. Insert some light jazz. As you can see on the map, and as the people who are listening can't see on the map, we have something set up in Roll20 where basically all the forces are lined up. It's almost like a game of chess. They're lined up from one another, all these different kind of units.
Oh, I watched Queen's Gambit, so I'm ready.
You're set.
Yeah.
You know.
This is
Take
exactly
your pills,
the same.
be ready.
I took like 10 of them.
You're gonna be limitless, almost to say.
I already won.
So there are 3 types of units. You have flying units, ranged, and melee. So flying is a little bit of rock, paper, scissors. Flying are superior to melee. Ranged are superior to flying, and melee are superior to ranged. I have a number of forces that are listed here. So the units for your forces, now there's quite a bit here, because you guys have actually managed to assemble quite a few allies. For flying units, the Halrua ships, which are the flying airships you have, the dragons, both red and silver, the light gaunts, the Nostradamus spaceships, and Astoria ship as well, are all considered flying units. For melee, you have the Baldur's Gate soldiers, you have the Hive, who have joined alongside the Githyanki, the Chosen, and Chenille/Yagditha, along with their group of Silver Shield. They're kind of like a little unit. They're also considered melee. For ranged, you have the ST-3v3s, the Sanctuary Soldiers, and Chenille, Yagditha, and Astoria can also do ranged attacks. For Dorem's forces, looking across the field, for flying, they have the Night Gaunts and the Dracolich. For melee, they have the Ghouls/Corrupted and the Ringmaster. And for ranged, they have the Scourge Spewers and the Ringmaster. They have just like only a few different types of units. For basic rules, so we'll roll initiative, and what you guys can do is basically you have 4 units basically you can control. Like you choose any random 4, they could be any distance away from you, doesn't matter. You can move a unit 4 spaces. A unit cannot move after it attacks, so if like you move a unit up and attack, can't move anymore. And per round, only one person can control a unit, so you can't just like keep moving Astoria across the board for everyone and do a bunch of stuff. It's like once she's moved and attacked, it's like kind of, think of it like a cooldown. She'll be able to do something next turn.
What if we get one of our units to the other side of the map? Do we get a king me or?
Yeah, it'll transform into a king. Then you take the Sword of Cthulhu, and with the Feather of Power, you combine them, making a stronger unit.
Exodia.
Yeah, you put all the pieces together and Seto Kaiba screams.
Okay.
So with your units, when you're doing an attack, like let's say you want to attack another unit, if they both hit each other, then you roll, it's opposing rolls. You roll with your proficiency and your best stat. So for instance, Ronnie would roll his +6 charisma plus his proficiency, and that's his roll. MZ, if it's dexterity or strength, that's what you'd roll. Basically, it's the thing you know best is what you're going to be relying on for your intuition, just so that it kind of gives everyone their best self they're putting forward.
Sorry, we go off our best ability modifier?
Yep. With the attack, it's basically win-lose. If you beat them in the roll, they take a damage. If they beat you in the roll, you take a damage, even if it's your turn or their turn. So basically, no matter what, a unit's going to get damaged just to keep the game moving forward, just that we're not like a stalemate where just nothing keeps happening. You can use, instead of like moving a unit and attacking, you can instead use one of your turns to use a skill, a spell, an item to grant advantage to one of your units or disadvantage to theirs, whatever you can think. Like if Ronnie casts Charm Person on the enemy, then he can use that and it's an automatic success. It's an automatic disadvantage for the enemy. So you don't have to worry about them trying to beat your saving throws. If Boredom wants to just blast Guiding Bolt, you can create disadvantage for that enemy because they're thrown into disarray. Each unit has 2 hit points, and the special units have 3. Like you have the Ringmaster out there, Ethics, Astoria. All those units have 3 hit points, but your normal units have 2. So they can get destroyed pretty quickly. And that's the idea, to just make this clash happen or make destruction happen. Your main objective as players isn't to beat them or like win this war. Your main objective and everyone else's objective is to get you to that tower. Because it's very possible that their forces are just going to swarm you, and even if they lose, they need to get you to the tower so that you can save the world. Now we've learned the rules of my fun board game. Does anyone have any questions?
Our ship, we have to move that individually to get it closer. So basically we have to get our ship to the tower.
Yep.
Okay.
And it can only move once per the round. So one person would use one of their turns to move that ship forward.
So it specifically has to be the ship that gets there to win, not just any unit?
That's right.
Okay.
It has to be your ship, which is labeled as Steve's ship.
Okay.
So once you get there, basically it's going to be up to you. If you want to keep fighting in the war, you can, by all means. But you basically have the opportunity to abandon ship and get your way to that tower.
How much water, or like how close is water to this battlefield? I mean, it's not related.
Oh man.
You see behind this tower here?
A giant lake.
That's a giant lake. I put that there just for you.
Thank you, Lucas. It's very kind of you.
So you can use the spell, and you don't have to worry about ranged. You could just create disadvantage for the enemy or cause problems and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to cause problems. I mean, death is a problem, right? So...
You sink the tower, we win.
Is that a cleric spell, cause problems?
As a DM, I can say yes, it is.
I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that Matthews can swim.
He doesn't need air, I'm going to tell you that much.
Yeah.
Alright, so let us start with initiative. We start off with Kelso.
Ah, shit, the pressure's on me to make the first move.
Yeah, so you can ask as many questions as you want. It's totally fine, because this is a whole new thing we're doing. So you can move any of these units forward by 4. Like, it doesn't matter how far away they are. Just think of it like you have these communication stones, and you can command units to march forward and do anything you want. And remember, when you're attacking with your best stat and your proficiency.
Can I move diagonal?
Yes.
I would advise not, like, moving your units very far for now. Like, into the enemy.
Okay, I moved one of my soldiers to the front lines here, the melee ones.
Okay.
I'm doing the Queen's Gambit, or the Sicilian defense.
So you can remember, you can move 4 units in total. So you moved one of the Baldur's Gate soldiers forward.
I'm going to move this red dragon here. Move that here.
Okay.
Closer. Then get the other Baldur's Gate unit. Move that to the front lines. Move this robot here up 2 squares to the front. And that's it.
So you start commanding through this stone, the Baldur's Gate soldiers, the dragon, the robots, and they start just moving and shifting, create more of a defensive position, and we go from Kelsar to Bordon.
I want to use control water, and I want to overflow that lake.
Okay.
Of course, towards, like the enemy.
So you start casting this spell, reaching out, and you feel a bit stronger of a divine connection. You're assuming that it's because your god is so close, that's what's causing this, and you start pulling this water towards you. You watch as this divine might is pouring through you. And you see that the lake starts moving forward, flooding around the tower and towards these enemy units. You see these ghouls are getting swept up in this water, and these night gaunts suddenly have to lift off the ground and try to get away. So you can always, you can keep doing more of this and make the lake larger, by all means. It's not like one and done. You have control over this water.
So I want to bring it closer to us. So am I going to control Voltos and Bilbrith as well, or are you going to?
You can move them however you want.
I want Voltos to fry those bitches. I mean, it is like a thunder elemental, right?
Okay, yeah, I like that.
And water is conductive, as far as I can remember.
Only if it has dissolved minerals and whatnot. If it's like purely distilled water, it doesn't conduct very well.
I mean,
this is not a.
It's water from a lake.
This isn't a distilled water
right?
lake.
I mean, you never know in this game.
We're safe there.
Yeah, honestly,
you have found my distilled water lake.
It is owned by Nestle. Oh, these guys really need to die.
Okay, so Voltos is a flying unit, and he does have a ranged attack, which means he can attack from, what do I have here? Ranged units can attack from 3 squares away. So he would have to get closer to get a proper blast out there. Like at the moment, he could impose disadvantage, but honestly, those creatures at the moment have disadvantage. So if you wanted to move him up closer to the enemy, he can start heading towards that if you wanted to start bringing the water closer. So he can move 4, and he can attack 3 away, basically. Think of it like that.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I move Voltos in Holder of Dimensions, and I fry the Ringmaster.
Alright, roll your best stat and proficiency.
So I just got 28 out of 29.
Oof. So Bordon, as you just manifest all this divine might, pulling this water closer, this water is just emptying out this lake bed and just moving forward. These units are shrieking and screaming. Nikons are taking up into the air. This water starts coating all over, and you then have Voltos just charge forward, blasting out at the Ringmaster. I'll say, so right now, this ghoul, and then the 4 Night Gaunts all have disadvantage while they're in that area, and if anyone else moves in that area, they'll have disadvantage because that water is just electrically charged right now. So then we go from Bordon to the Monstars. This is gonna be a lot of stuff moving. These units just charge forward. There's this massive wave. They just start swinging and clawing. You watch as these forces fly forward. These ghouls are slamming into the Chosen. One of them just runs forward attacking the SV3v3s, this unit of ghouls. These other ones are coming up attacking Baldur's Gate. One tries to attack Palgrith the Unclean, and they are like, there is this massive wings and eyes, and these ghouls rush forward towards him. This divine energy just blasts out. And there's a vaporized existence of what once was a ghoul's unit. You watch as these creatures are just being wiped out. There is the group of ogres start swinging. They're damaging the ones in front of them. You watch as some of the chosen units are actually getting hit, heavily damaged. And they're just like, it's just swipe after swipe. These units are all attacking one another, and the forces are starting to get injured. And you see a lot of the units are starting to swarm towards the tower, almost like preemptively assuming that this is where you're going to be going. And now it goes from there go to MZ. So MZ, you now have control over 4 units, or you can of course use skills.
Can troops move through other troops, including enemy troops?
Just friendly troops.
Just friendly troops?
Yeah.
Does moving troops past enemy troops provoke attacks of opportunity?
It's more like it's like a barrier. Think of it like each of these troops, it's like, yeah, like 40 or 50 people, and then there's like 40 or 50 opposing people that like you're trying to push through.
Okay. I moved a group of red dragons towards the enemy, and I moved a group of the hive towards the enemy. So we'll start with that. So the red dragon, 17, 18, 19, 20 on the dice.
So they got 12. So the red dragons just swoop in, breathing flames. These ghouls are just getting burned. and it looks like you took out like half of their troops there. And then roll for your hive.
21.
They got an 11. The hive just like climb over all the corpses and just come in and butcher the remaining ghouls that are there while they're like shrieking out these insectoid clicks.
I'm going to move a group of the Chosen up right here, right beside the enemy, and they will attack this group of troops right here.
Yeah.
12.
I got a 16.
Ooh.
These ghouls, like the Chosen, try to march forward, and these Chosen were already injured as they were fighting the ghouls beforehand, and they try to march forward, try to take out this injured group of ghouls, but they end up getting slain. You watch as the Chosen are just ripped apart mercilessly. Some of them are starting to transform into corrupted, and they just get crushed and torn apart, and it is just this pile of gore as there are ghouls and Chosen soldiers everywhere.
I'm gonna move this Alrua ship up.
Okay, yeah.
I'll move it up 4.
Oh, good. So you roll with advantage.
They'll attack that one right there. 22.
So the cannons from this ship just start firing down at the ghouls. The ghouls are trying to launch spears, shoot arrows, and they just get completely wiped off the map as the ship is just firing down towards them. There is, just like on the right-hand side of the map, MZ, you're commanding so many of the units to march forward, and just you've decimated 2 of their groups that were charging forward, the losing a group of the Chosen. And from MZ, it goes to Drexir.
On the western side, I'm going to have this Helrua ship move up to the side of some ghouls and attack this ghoul here.
Okay.
So that's 27 altogether.
I got a natural 1.
So they just exploded.
Yeah, this was bound to happen. So you just start firing these ships. And you watch, like, just these ghouls are exploding everywhere. They're just trying to scramble. They didn't even get a chance to try to attack. They're just blowing up everywhere.
Right in the center of the action, I will get this light gaunt to attack this ghoul. Right in the middle.
Okay.
15 altogether.
The ghouls got an 8. These Lycons, they're just diving through and picking up ghouls, ripping them apart in the air. This viscera is going all over them. They're quickly changing from like a grayish white to a red as they're just being covered in viscera. And these ghouls, like, they were already injured before trying to attack the Lycons, and now their unit is completely decimated, opening up a clear path for the ship. As clear as it can be at the moment.
And then again, on the western side, I will move a red dragon and attack this ghoul.
Okay.
So that's a 23 altogether.
So they come through and just start unleashing these flames and these ghouls, and the Githyanki on top are shooting crossbows at them, and manage to take out a solid amount of their forces in that unit. And from Drexir, we go to Ronnie. So, Ronnie, one thing you do know, and I guess like everybody would be aware of this, you have the instruments, because you need the instruments, right? So the instruments are on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever decided you want to try your hand at one of those again, that's okay.
Okay, so if I use like some of my abilities, I can still only use 1 per turn, right?
So with a personal player, it's different. Like with your character, you can just you can spend all 4 turns just using 4 of Ronnie's abilities and items if you want.
Okay, sweet. So we probably want to get rid of that ethics Dracolich, right?
The ethics, yeah.
Can I see it from here?
You can see it in the distance, yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to trade places with it. And put it right in the middle of all of our troops.
Ronnie, you would. Okay. So, Ronnie, you start concentrating, and the chaos around you is distorting quite a bit. So, tell me exactly what you do to trade places with ethics.
I mean, I usually just trade places. I don't really have like a big spiel that goes with it.
Okay, so you're just standing there on the deck and you swap?
How big is this thing?
The dragon?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if like I should be jumping, like, do I need to be jumping off the ship if I trade places is going to completely crush the ship?
It's definitely at least probably around 70 to 80 feet tall.
Okay, so I probably want to be off the ship when I trade places.
That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure.
Because if suddenly this thing is there, that mast is going down.
Yeah, I just need to be sure I can see it. Is it kind of on top of that ivory tower?
Yeah. It's like it's sitting on top of it.
Okay, so I'll kind of jump off and trade places with it.
So you jump and you do like this swan dive off the ship.
Right.
Everyone's like, "What?
What the hell, Ronnie?"
No. You're gracefully flying down. This energy is crackling around you. These lycons are swarming everywhere. You look over at Ethics and you catch the eye of this Dracolich. Just for a second, the Dracolich looks confused. And suddenly, Ronnie, you are standing on top of its ivory tower. The wind is blowing up here. It's actually like, it's quite a strong wind. You can hear the electricity crackling from the water surrounding the tower. You don't see any entrances from up here. But now, underneath the ship, this like about 70 to 80 foot tall Dracolich appears, roaring, confused as hell,
right?
Looking around at everyone.
Okay, so now it's the real play of, can I still see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so I'm kind of over top of that electrified lake, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna swan dive into the lake, and at the very last second, trade places back with it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you swan dive, and then the Dracolich just falls into this water. So you swap places, so now you're on the ground below the ship.
Yeah.
And this Dracolich just crashes into the water. You hear this electricity crackling, this Dracolich roaring out in pain. And I'll give it 1 damage for that. That was pretty creative. And so now you're standing down, looking at the bottom of the ship. These Nikons are swarming everywhere. There's a number of units that are starting to march past you towards the incoming forces. So you still have 2 actions left, surprisingly.
I guess I should have attacked it first before I threw it in the water, but I don't know if anything would have actually damaged it or not.
It was possible.
Next up, okay, I'll just move up slowly, I guess, for the other 2.
So you send messages to Palgrith and soldiers from the Chosen to march forward. Palgrith rips across this land, starting towards these Nikons and these strange scourge spewers. And the soldier army starts marching towards the ringmaster and little units that it has around it. You start hearing like this crackling, like you guys can hear like communications between soldiers are coming through this. Some people screaming, like explosions, like a lot of sounds are happening around you. All these sounds are happening, and then it goes from all these creatures to, we start off with Kelsar. So Kelsar, now these units are all moved around. Fresh turn, everything can attack again, everything can move. You see Ethics is just flailing around in this electrified pool.
I have a question. Ethics is still in the water, right?
That's right.
And Ethics is considered undead, right?
That's right.
Could I use my holy energy to kind of like purify the water, to make it into like holy water, kind of like burn them?
That's real fucking good.
Yeah, I like that.
Like consecrate
so
it?
you don't actually have a spell for this, right? You just want to use like your abilities, your chosen ability?
Like consecrate it.
Sure. Let's just do a roll for this then. So roll with your highest stat and your proficiency. We'll see how well you do.
26 total.
Okay. You beat them just by 1.
Nice.
So you unleash this holy energy. This radiant power is flowing through. You watch as the ghouls that were inside there start burning. This sizzling sound could be heard popping from them. And Ethics roars out in pain. This Dracolich, it looks pretty heavily wounded as it's now looking enraged. And you see some of the ghouls on the side are starting to they now, like this one here has disadvantage. The Night Gods have disadvantage as they're flying over this basically giant body of holy water that you have now created.
I can only do my abilities once per turn, right? Or can I do it twice?
You could do something else, like, I mean, Ronnie teleported twice.
I want to, like, concentrate, like, a ball of holy energy in my hand and throw it towards the ringmaster to, like, make it into a flashbang.
If you're going to be doing, like, an attack, then you'll have to be closer. If you're going to just try to impose disadvantage or something, then you can do that from where you're at.
Oh, that's what I want to do. Impose disadvantage, yeah.
Okay. You pile up this energy and fire it off.
Ha!
flash of light. It passes right through Voltos and hitting towards the Ringmaster, just blinding it as it's roaring back.
Then I want Yegditha to do a ranged attack towards the Ringmaster while he's blinded.
Alright, roll it. And I'll roll with disadvantage.
I got 24.
Oh, you lucky bitch. I got a 10 and a natural 20. So Yegditha charges up.
Yegditha! Ranged attack! Ringmaster! Now!
You watch Yegditha just powers up this blue energy, this fire, and then hurls it over. It comes arcing over. The Ringmaster still blinking as this just blasts right into them. They howl out in pain. This strange hollow sound just echoes out, enraging all the ghouls around.
I'm going to have the red dragon on the left-hand corner, left-hand side, attack the ghoul to the left of it.
Okay. So you roll with advantage since the flying gets melee.
I got 19.
That does it.
Nice. Because, like, the first roll I got was a natural 1. I was like, shit.
So these ghouls have already been damaged, and this red dragon just once again comes down because it had attacked these ones before and just finishes off the ghouls that are there as they're trying to fight back and fire at them. And then Kelsar, like you're commanding these things around. This energy is like you feel the pull as you're keeping this holy water going, and it goes to Borodon.
You know what's funny? I was gonna heat up the water to like the boiling point and boil them alive, but I remembered that I didn't have Yegditha powers anymore, so I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, now you're the holy boy.
Yep.
I keep bringing the water closer.
Okay.
You're just gonna drown the entire planet.
Can I make it wider?
There's only so much water, so if you make it wider, it'll just be shorter.
Can I move it forward and then make it wider?
Yeah, so this will be 2 moves.
So, Humberto's a waterbender now.
This is Humberto playing with the sliders of Cyberpunk right now.
So that's 3 moves that you could do, pulling this holy electrified water closer.
It's Crusader influenced water.
And you see these ghouls are starting to burn up, shrieking. You see a couple that are in the real thick of it you see they're taking some damage, whereas other ones along the edge are being made just like with disadvantage on them.
So I just want Voltos to kill the Ringmaster.
Okay. So I got 27.
I got 15.
So Voltos goes in to attack the Ringmaster, and the Ringmaster is just swiping furiously. You see the Ringmaster is probably on their last legs. They're looking pretty rough. And then Voltos had been harmed previously when the Ringmaster charged up. And now they both look like they're pretty heavily damaged as they're fighting one another. And it just looks like they're almost at like kind of a stalemate while they're staggering. And then it goes to the Monstars. So, let's see, move 16 units. So the Ringmaster is going to try to kill Voltos. Roll against me on Birdie.
I mean, if he dies now, I'm not doing anything. So 17.
It's fine, I got a 1. So the Ringmaster blindly charges forward, and Voltos, like almost anticipating this move, like opens up. And then the Ringmaster looks around shocked, and it all just comes in imploding on him. You just see this explosion. As the Ringmaster's guts, gore, everything just goes in every direction.
Ah, gross.
It splatters just outwards, just for like hundreds of feet, and you hear these shrieks of the ghouls, and you see the ghouls are now marching forward on the western front. Let's roll some attacks. So you watch as a group of hive start marching towards these ghouls, and the ghouls just rush forward, going like dipping near the ship, and just start ripping them apart. These hive members, like it didn't even seem like they had a chance. These chosen that were in front of another group of ghouls just start getting swarmed by them. They seem like they're almost hit into this fervorous state, whereas they're infuriated that the Ringmaster had been destroyed. These other ghouls start heading towards an ST3v3, and they go to attack, and they just get lit up. There's these bullet holes all in them. And these creatures, these giant scourge spewers, start spewing towards this dragon. You watch as the dragon's dodging, dipping, diving, all the dodgeball stuff you're supposed to do. And it gets hit with one of these acidic bombs that hits into it, but it manages to shoot off some flame breath and catch one of the scourge spewers, and it looks like it's starting to light on fire. You see in the middle, these ghouls are trying to quickly rush out of this holy water that has been created by Kelsar and Bordon. And so they're trying to swarm towards the Chosen in the front and Palgrith. So you watch as Palgrith, he's getting swarmed on two sides, and just these holy angelic blades are swinging down, and these ghouls are being vaporized around him. These ones haven't even been touched, and he's destroying like 50 people as like he's just swinging out these giant relic, like ancient celestial blades, and it's just scores and scores of ghouls are dying around them as he's glowing brighter and brighter. But you watch the Chosen beside Voltos; they're getting swarmed by these ghouls and hurt, and a number of these other units on the set are going to move up. So you watch as the ghouls are trying to come up from behind, come up from the side of the soldiers on the eastern front and attack. These ships are just laying into them. The hives are holding them off, and you see these Chosen warriors. They're actually getting pretty hurt. You see, you've actually lost quite a few of the Chosen out here. They're not even having time to transform into these corrupted that would aid the enemy. The enemy is just in this fervor, just destroying and annihilating. But the ogres themselves are actually faring pretty well. Like almost this is their jam. And you watch as they destroy the units of ghouls in front of them.
Nice.
The soldiers of Sanctuary are getting attacked now, and they're taking damage. And you see that Voltos is managing to hold off the ghouls that are attacking him. He damages them. And these Scourge Spewers start firing off at enemies that are at a distance. And you're watching as like they're failing to land some hits, but the Sanctuary soldiers are firing back at them, launching these volleys of arrows and crossbow bolts. And we go from these monsters' turns off to MZ.
So I move this fleet of airships back away from that group of enemies that came towards it, and it's going to attack that group of enemies. It's ranged, right? And I can attack from three blocks away.
Yep.
Okay. 17.
Yeah, you beat them, so the cannons just start firing off. And they immediately rip into these ghouls, just shredding them on the ground.
The fleet of dragons that I controlled last turn, they will breathe fire onto this ugly thing right here. Scourge Spewers. Ooh. 10.
They got a 13. So the dragons start breathing off this flame, but they hurl this ball of acid that seems to just split right through the fire. And hits right into the dragons. They're roaring. Some of the Githyanki are falling off them, just covered in acid, screaming.
Okay. And then this group of the hive is going to move up towards them.
Okay. So you'll roll with advantage.
19 on my first one.
So they just start moving forward, and the Scourge Spears, they're so distracted by the dragons, these hives just start ripping into them. You see spears, swords, everything slamming into these large four-legged creatures. They bellow out.
The Sanctuary soldiers are going to go 1, 2, 3, and attack that group of enemies.
Okay.
17.
You got them. So they start firing off these arrows, and just like what little ghouls were left in that unit, they just bring them down. But like you're really clearing out this eastern front as you're commanding these troops along, kind of like forcing the units more towards the middle.
Okay, nice. These Sanctuary soldiers, you're talking about arrows. Are they ranged or are they melee?
They're ranged.
Okay, okay. Just so I can play them better. Fine. I wouldn't have moved them right up.
I still rolled really low, so you're good. So from MZ, it goes to Draxier. So Draxier, you see the eastern front is getting pushed back now as your soldiers are actually successfully moving them away. You watched the Ringmaster, one of their main leaders of this army, just be completely imploded by Voltos.
I want to use my powers to supercharge all the SC3v3s.
Right, because you do have an ability that actually does that. Okay, sure. You basically have this little pad that you're flipping through that you got from the Nostradamus Corporation. And you just start, like, pretty much putting all their settings to max, like, just...
Oh, we're talking to the CPU.
Yeah, all these warnings are popping up saying, this may damage the unit for future use. You're like, don't care, don't care, don't care. And, like, you just keep maxing everything out. And so they will roll with advantage.
Alright, in that case, I'll get this Eastern SD3v3 to fire at the Night Gauntlets ahead of it.
Oh, I was thinking of doing that too.
That's a 23.
So they just start unleashing hell into this Night Gaunt. Looks like they're pretty heavily damaged. You're watching as Night Gaunts are just falling from the sky. As these ST3v3s all have like these digital smiley faces on them as these guns are just firing off.
I'll get this ST3v3 to move forward, and it'll attack this Scourge Spear. That's a 21 altogether.
Alright, he got 18, so you just start firing at them, and you're just loading up these four-legged creatures. These behemoths are roaring out as like some of them are starting to collapse and fall down, this acid spewing down to the ground.
And then the central SD3v3 will move up behind that one unit of the Chosen, and it'll attack this Scourge Spear in the front. That's a 23 altogether.
So you just watch as they just start unleashing. And these Scourge Spears, since they're like standing at the corner of this holy water, they're too distracted, their feet keep getting burned, and they just start getting shot up pretty hard. And so you're seeing that they're looking pretty rough. From Draxier, it goes to Ronnie. So Ronnie, you are underneath the airship at the moment, and all this chaos is ensuing.
I can't really move too much on my own now.
Like, if you wanted, you could, like, just get some of the Night Gaunts to lift you up.
Yeah, I was thinking I should spend a movement doing that. I guess I should probably get back in the ship.
The Night Gaunts can lift you up if you'd like.
Light Gaunts.
Or Light Gaunts.
Okay, yeah, I'll spend a turn doing that.
So you hold up your arms like it's Titanic, and one of them comes up from behind you and lifts you up gently, and just drops you onto the deck of the ship that's just full of chaos, people firing off shots and screaming orders.
Yeah, and I'm going to use... I don't actually know if this counts as a turn, because it's a bonus action, but I might as well just use Bardic Inspiration.
Sure, so you would give, instead of like the plus D8, you would instead just give full advantage to whoever you want to give that to.
Well, it's anyone in 60 feet.
So you could technically give it to over the map, because you got like a little radio, so you can give your inspiration over the radio.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Who would you like to give it to?
I'm going to give it to Voltos.
Okay, so Voltos' next action will be rolled with advantage.
Might as well finish off this guy in front of the lake.
Okay, so use the Chosen in front of them?
Yeah, I'll use the Chosen then.
Okay, so you roll with advantage.
20.
You just rip apart these Scourge Spears. You're yelling commands, you're yelling like, Voltos, you could do it, you know, like all of these words of joy, and these Chosen just start like tearing into these creatures, and you watch as the Scourge Spears are like falling back into the holy water, just completely melting into it.
Maybe I'll get this dragon to attack the guy beside him quickly.
Over on the western front?
Yeah, I can't see the ping there for some reason.
Alright, so you roll with advantage. Oh, I got a natural 20.
21.
So your dragons come swooping in to try to wipe out these ghouls, this new unit that's moved in, and they're almost anticipating the dragon coming in as the dragons wiped out a few of their kind, and they jump on, just start hacking into the dragons, and you watch as this group of red dragons just like falls to the ground, and the ghouls are just tearing them apart.
Bummer.
Is that what you say over the radio? Just like,
yeah, that didn't go well.
And then from Ronnie, it goes to Kelsar. So once again, everyone's refreshed. You got a clean board. You can jump in.
Okay, this ship on the left-hand side here, I'm gonna get that to attack the ghoul down and to the right of it.
Okay, so the ship on the western front.
Yeah, and I have advantage because it's flying against melee, right?
Yep.
26.
You unleash hell, cutting down their numbers by half easily as you watch these ghouls just be absolutely shredded. And so now it's starting to look like, thankfully due to the water, there's actually starting to be somewhat of a path cleared out towards this Ivory Tower as you watch as the Nightgons are starting to swarm.
I'm gonna move... Hive is melee?
Yes.
I'm gonna move this one forward on the right-hand side, and I'm gonna get it to attack the Bile Spewer.
Alright, so with advantage.
13. Oh my god. Fuck.
I got 16.
Fuck.
Even though they would normally have a pretty easy time taking care of these, they just get really distracted by just all the chaos that's happening around. The Scourge Spear just shoots out this giant ball of acid and it rolls over, melting a number of the hive that are running towards it, and they're shrieking out in pain, and they don't manage to harm the Scourge Spear.
This airship on the right-hand side, I'm gonna get it to attack the ghoul beside, in front of the Steve. This ST
Okay.
3V, whatever. Natural 20.
Oh shit, you just blast them out.
Boom, bitch!
They were in front of these ST-3v3s getting ready to try to scrap them, and the cannons just fire off from the ship and ghouls go everywhere. And the ST-3v3s just have like little smiling faces and they're bouncing forward.
Nice. Flying has a range of 3, right?
No, flying and melee are just up close and personal.
Okay. There's this hive on the right-hand side, like the very far right, beside the Scourge Spear. I'm going to get him to attack.
Okay, roll with advantage. 12.
21.
So they just rip apart these Scourge Spewers, their bodies are falling down, acid pooling out, and the hive are quickly getting out of the way. And from Kelsar, it goes to Borodon. So you see the path has been cleared for Voltos as this lake is just bubbling up, and this holy water is burning at creatures.
Can I heal Voltos? Can I heal creatures? Because I have like mass cure wounds.
I'd say you have to be 3 squares away from them. So if you want to move the ship up, you could heal.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to cast haste on the ship.
Okay.
So what happens when I cast haste? What would happen?
If you cast haste on the ship, I will let the ship move 6 instead of 4.
I am just like asking, like the group.
Oh, okay.
If I should start moving the ship, because like we're basically holding our ground,
I mean, yeah, you could move the ship. It's like you have almost a clear path, and you have a lot of units that could cause some damage.
Okay. So what I do is I cast haste. And then I move 1. So can I heal Voltos?
Yes.
So then I heal Voltos.
So you will bring its damage down by 1. So it still has 1 damage, but it's now not looking like it's about to be destroyed.
So can I sort of like bring Voltos along with me?
So moving the ship is 1 action.
Yes.
You can move Voltos and attack, another. The ship also has cannons on it to attack.
What I wanted to do was I want Voltos to actually be inside the lake.
Sure, you could do that with his attack.
It's just because like I don't want to be alone, just like the ship alone.
Well, no one wants to be alone, Borodon.
Yeah, there's a whole Bee Gees song about it. Okay, we'll do this first. You move Voltos into the lake. Roll an attack with advantage with Voltos.
26.
So you watch as Voltos dips into this lake. This lightning starts arcing up at these Nightcons. You're watching as these Nightcons now they're all taking damage. Like any of the Nightcons within the area have now been partially electrocuted. You're watching Nightcons fall from the sky as their defenses around the tower are quickly getting weakened. and a lot of the creatures are looking very concerned. It's like they see their allies are being harmed so much, and the ship starts moving forward, and you have these weakened night gaunts in front of you. So let's see, you did Voltos, you healed, you cast haste. So technically you move the ship can still attack.
Okay, cool. Could I just make Voltos to like discharge again?
Voltos already acted, so like when Voltos went into the lake and like charged up the lake and electrocuted it, that harmed 5 of the night gaunt units.
So I'm just going to fire a cannon in front of
the ship at the night gaunts.
Yeah, exactly. I got like 14.
So you fire off at these night gaunts, and they just get pelted with these hits, and you just see they're falling from the sky, landing in this electrified super holy water lake attack that is super effective on them. They're just frying, sizzling, melting. This clear path has been made to the tower as the creatures are all panicking, and then it goes to their attacks. So you see these night gaunts are moving forward, and they're going to be attacking with disadvantage because of the lake. Who wants to roll for the ship? Someone else can roll for it.
I'll roll.
So roll twice, because it's 2 different attacks.
27 and a 25.
So these night gaunts just start sailing towards the ship, trying to attack it, and all the ship's cannons are firing off. Steve really invested in these ship cannons because he would be on the ship. So you just watch as like they're firing off, and these night gaunts are just falling out of the sky as they're electrified. This holy energy is making them nauseated. Ethix moves up towards Palgrith the Unclean, firing off this blast of necrotic energy. This divine radiant energy fires off from Palgrith, meeting at the center. This eruption happens.
Oh my god, is it a beam struggle?
Yeah, so Kelsar.
Yes!
Yeah, because you love these kind of things. This is your anime moment. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and roll with Palgrith? Just regular attack.
I got 14.
Alright, I got a 14 as well, so let's roll again, because it can't be tied. This is a classic anime moment. They get tied in the center. And
oh no!
What'd you do?
Oh no.
Did you get a 1?
Yeah.
And I got a 20. Oh my god, you got a 1, I got a 20. So Ethix just charges up this blast. This blast radiates towards Palgrith. Palgrith was caught off guard because there's so many ghouls around them that they're having to slay. And this energy just erupts into Palgrith. And you see Palgrith is quite injured. Feathers are falling down to the ground. This rain is starting up because it's a war, and rain always starts up in war. It's just a natural fact. And so now this rain is starting to come down, and Palgrith looks heavily damaged. You watch as these ghouls are attacking on the front line, just marching in further. These hive members, they first, like the ghouls march up to them and they're attacking them. One of the ghouls, their units get injured, but then they just get torn apart on both sides from these night gaunts and ghouls coming in. You see that the hive that are fighting these scorch spitters manage to successfully destroy them as they try moving in for another attack. But these sanctuary soldiers that were fighting off in the center near Yagditha just get swarmed by these ghouls. These ghouls are erupting in laughter. They're pulling people apart. You watch as more of the Chosen units are starting to get ripped apart and dragged down. There's only one unit of the Chosens left. Almost all of the Chosen have died in this fight. You're seeing that some of the Baldur's Gate soldiers are getting just completely annihilated by these Scourge Spears as they're firing off towards them. And this battle is just erupting. There's so much death on the front lines as your ship can see victory clearly in sight. We go from them to Emzy. So Palgrith hasn't moved as far as special units go, and Yagditha / Chenille haven't moved.
Yeah, but I like my little troops that I've been using. They're working for me right now. They're working for me right now. Okay, I'm gonna move this dragon. The dragons will attack this group right here.
The ghouls?
The ghouls?
Okay.
16.
These dragons fire off this fiery breath to watch as like half of the ghouls are wiped out, and they're flying overhead of these Baldur's Gate units.
And then I will move this fleet of ships right here.
Yep.
And they will attack Night Gaunt right here. This pack of Night Gaunts.
Okay.
14.
I got a 1. So these, of course, this is when all of my attacks are going off. All my 1s. I'm getting it out of the way for Matthews. So these Nightcons just get fired into. They get completely just annihilated. They're dropping out of the sky, falling down into the ground as these ship cannons are firing off.
Okay. With this group of archers, they will attack this group of ghouls.
Okay.
5.
You're firing off these arrows, and the ghouls are just like picking up spears, launching them back, and like launching back arrows that are being shot at them. And you watch as like a number of these archers are getting hit and dying. They're still there, but like a number of their forces have been slain.
How did you get a 5?
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, what did you roll? Because you would add your proficiency.
Yeah.
So your proficiency is 4, so that'd bring it up to a 6. Then your best ability bonus is what?
I've just been adding my ability bonuses. I should have been rolling higher this whole time. Fuck.
God damn it, dude.
Because like 5 is.
I've just been adding my best ability to everything. I probably haven't missed anything yet. Then, truthfully, fuck.
So you still would have failed that roll because they had like a 16, but you, yeah, just remember that for next time. So,
with this other airship, I'll attack that group up there.
All right, roll with advantage.
19 on the dice plus 7.
Yeah, no, so you just fire into them, wiping out like half of the ghouls in that unit. And so you're commanding the eastern front. You're managing to hold the line fairly well as it goes to Drexier.
So this ST3v3 in the middle is going to fire an Epix.
Yep.
Oh, there's a nat 20 on one of those dice.
So you just command these units. They turn towards this Dracolit, who looks exhausted just having done this damage to Palgrith. And they just start firing, and the Dracolich is ripped apart in the sky. There's energy radiating out from its necrotic blast, and you feel like the ship rocking a little bit. It's fine, it didn't get damaged. But this ST3v3 is just smiling and then turning back forward.
Some would call these strategies unethical.
Well, at least now he won't be a problem when we get into the Ivory Tower.
That's true. You took out both of their lead units.
Alright, this Steve is going to attack this Night Gaunt on the western side.
Okay.
And that is a 23 altogether.
17. So these Night Gaunts are falling from the sky. These Steves are just pelting into them. Overclocked Steves.
The eastern Steve is going to attack a Scourge Spear, and that's a nat 20.
These Scourge Spears are just ripped apart. These ST3v3s are holding up, trading, Albedo's services for them. It seems like it was a great move in this war. I think that's 3 ST3s.
And I'm going to move this Light Gaunt up to attack these ghouls in the center of the map.
Okay.
And that's a 25 altogether.
I got 9. So those ghouls, half of their units are just ripped apart. And Drexier, like you're issuing out these commands. The ship's getting closer. Ronnie, it is your go. The goal is in sight.
I don't know. Do we want to just like rush to the end and dock in the tower? Or
yeah, the ship can't move yet.
Oh, right, because they'll... Okay.
Just make one last ditch attempt.
Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, in this... There's a big, like, sect of monsters over on that left side. Whatever's going to get me the most radius here, I'm just going to Stinking Cloud that whole little section.
Nice. So you fire off the Stinking Cloud, and they just start, like, hacking and coughing. They just look like they're blinded. They can't quite see everything in that area. Your magic just seems to be amplified here. There's so much arcane and divine energy flowing around here that all of you feel like you're at the top of your game.
Right, sweet. And then I will... Alright, let's move one of these guys up. Wait, is that range or is that...
So you're flying versus melee, so you'll have advantage.
16.
So you just, these light gaunts come down and just start ripping apart. I rolled a 3 on the dice.
Oh, cool.
So They just start like tearing into these ghouls, ripping them apart, shredding them. So yeah, still 2 more goes.
Attacking those guys.
Hit a 15.
27.
Oh my god. They take out like half of them just flying in, tearing apart. Some of them, they're just like launching them, throwing them into the lake. You just hear this sizzling and bubbling as these ghouls are splashing, trying to get out.
Continue in this fashion.
Alright, so you're sending in.
Send them all kind of around us. How did I get the same fucking roll twice? Alright, I got 12s. 2 12s.
I got an 11.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like,
how the fuck did I roll 2 2s? Oh.
That's impressive. So you, Ronnie, you're just commanding these light guns, and they're all just swarming forward, ripping apart these ghouls, and just like pieces of them are going flying everywhere as these light guns are quickly becoming red guns. And
Boom.
It goes from you're commanding to Kelsar. Kelsar, you have the home stretch.
Steve?
Yeah?
Forward to the tower.
Oh god! And he just like pushes forward on something, one of these levers, and you see the whole airship is just lurching forward. This lightning is arcing around you from this body of water that has been moved out of the lake bed. This holy energy is coursing all around. These creatures are shrieking, trying to get at you. You bring the ship forward, and like you all are able to just like hop into this little rowboat. These explosions are happening. The cannons are firing off the ship, keeping these creatures at bay as you land near the edge of this new Lake Kelsar Bordon.
Calrodon.
As you get to the base of this massive tower, this tower looks like it's absolutely perfect. There's no faults in it. There's not even a doorway as you're looking like, how the fuck are we supposed to get in this? And you watch as this light appears, creating this door. And Bordon, you feel this connection on your cheek as you look back, and Palgrith is opening his tower to let you all in.
Oh.
You all like look back and you're just like, fuck it, as like these explosions are happening, your ears are ringing. You rush into the tower as the door seals behind you, becoming completely, eerily quiet. And you hear, finally.
Alright, so Draxier already sent us a few copies of, let's see, Uhtred schematics, a few things that we're going to be needing, so make sure that we have everything set up so the moment Mr. Cardathian is here with his family, we can just sort of hit the ground running on this automata production, because we need these machines on the field right away. Fluctuations with portals, looks like there's a portal opening. It's going through time and space. I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. What could go wrong? Oh, perfect. Here you are. Welcome, Albedo.
Greetings there. I take it you are Ramirez.
You got it in one. Albedo, we are so happy to have you join the team. We have been looking to have you join us for quite some time. Probably the last Mythos war you were in.
I was curious. How are my companions faring? The Mythos war is a very near and dear matter to my heart. I have a lot of friends there that I do not wish to see perish.
Well, from what I'm understanding, they're already at war. Everything is clashing, but our ST3v3s are on the field and ripping up ghouls, so don't worry. Everything's going to be A-okay. But Albedo, I see here you are a knowledgeable historian, so we are actually going to get you to start combing through these books here.
Oh, you already have some work ready for me. Perfect. What are these books about?
Oh, nothing much, nothing much. We are just looking at designing a new system. See, the goal is we want to know, can we create a sort of cyberspace system that we can send people into, but use it to infiltrate worlds
in other dimensions. So if you could just kind of get your noodle on that, that would be perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes, I shall begin this task, though I do not know much about this cyberspace, but my knowledge on dimensional travel is quite extensive.
Perfect, that's why we brought you in. Okay, I'm late for another meeting, unfortunately, but it was so good to see you. We're going to have some assistants come around here, and they're going to take care of you. Don't you worry. But we are happy to have you here as a part of the Nostradamus Corporation family. It was great meeting you, Albedo.
And you as well.
Well, travelers, it looks like we managed to make it to the tower. That's pretty good. Happy to hear that. This portal is taking a lot of energy from me, so gonna have to make this one quick. Head on over to our Patreon. Lots of rad stuff there. It's like $1. Helps us pay for everything. Shit's expensive. Hop on over to the iTunes, Podchaser, Spotify. Leave those 5 stars. Helps us a lot. Helps rise us up in the ranks. The algorithm's cruel. You want to do some good? Head on over there. It helps us a lot. You can message us, follow us along. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We got Ballad of 7 Days there in all places. Alright, travelers. I'm gonna get back to work. I bid you all adieu.